Greetings from the English Literature YouTube channel. It is a one-stop destination to soothe all your literary curiosities. In today's video, we'll read the Indian English poetry, The Harp of India, written by the Indian English poet Henry Louis Vivian Derozio. Here is the photograph of Vivian Derozio. So let's read about him. Henry Derozio is considered the first Indian English poet. He was born in Calcutta on 18th April 1809. He was an Anglo-Indian. His father was a Christian Indo-Portuguese office worker named Francis Derozio, and his mother was an Englishwoman named Sophia Johnson Derozio. Henry Derozio received an English education at David Drummond's Academy, Calcutta, until the age of 14. It was a secular school and the center of Western philosophy and education. At the age of 14, Derozio left school to work. He initially joined his father's office in Calcutta, then shifted to his uncle's indigo factory in Bhagalpur. Inspired by the scenic beauty of the banks of the river Ganges, he started writing poetry. His poetic career began to flourish with poems published in multiple newspapers and periodicals in 1825. In May 1826, at the age of 17, he was appointed as a professor of English literature and history at the newly established Hindu College in Calcutta. This was a time when the Hindu society in Bengal was undergoing considerable turmoil. In 1828, Rajaram Mohan Roy established the Brahmo Samaj, which kept Hindu ideals but denied idolatry. This resulted in a backlash within Orthodox Hindu society. Derozio helped discuss the ideas for social change already in the air. He encouraged intelligent boys to think freely, question, and not accept anything blindly. His teachings inspired the development of the spirit of liberty, equality, and freedom. He also tried to remove the social evils, improve the conditions of women and peasants, and promote liberty through freedom of the press, trial by jury, and so on. His activities brought about the intellectual revolution in Bengal. It was called the Young Bengal Movement, and his students, known as Derozians, were fiery patriots. Due to the backlash from conservative parents who disliked his wide-ranging and open discussion on religious issues, Derozio was dismissed from his post in April 1831. After leaving Hindu College, he reverted to journalism. He founded the East Indian, the first newspaper devoted to the cause of the Anglo-Indian community. Derozio died on 26 December 1831. At that time, he was hardly 22 years old. This was about the life of the poet Henry Derozio. So let's move towards the text of the poem, The Harp of India. Why hang'st thou lonely on yon withered bough? Unstrung forever, must thou there remain? These two lines say, why do you hang on a broken branch? The word thou refers to the harp. The unstrung means that the harp hasn't been played, possibly because the strings are broken. The first two lines evoke a sense of sadness. The harp refers to the art that is not being used or created. The poet questions if the culture of art should remain like this. Thy music once was sweet, who hears it now? Why doth the breeze sigh over thee in vain? According to these lines, the music or the sound produced by the harp was once very melodious. But now, since nobody plays it, nobody hears the sound anymore. Even the wind cannot stir music within the harp and is useless. Silence hath bound thee with her fatal chain. Neglected, mute, and desolate art thou. The above given lines say that the harp is silenced, as it does not produce any music or sound. That makes the harp close to being dead, as it defeats the purpose of an instrument. It is abandoned and dumb, and cannot make any music. Like ruined monument on desert plain. Oh, many a hand more worthy far than mine. These two lines say that the harp is like a ruined statue on a desert plain that is useless. There are many poets better than the narrator. The word hand refers to other talented poets. Once thy harmonious chords to sweetness gave, and many a wreath for them did fame entwine. These two lines illuminate that when the harp did make melodious music and entertained, it gave fame to the poets. The word wreath suggests that the poets are dead and also refers to the flowers on the poet's grave. Of flowers still blooming on the minstrel's grave. Those hands are cold, but if thy notes divine. These lines say that the flowers still bloom on the poet's graves. Flower can also be compared to fame. Even when the poets remain dead, the artwork they produced is celebrated even after the death of poets. Maybe by mortal wakened once again. Harp of my country, let me strike this strain. These lines mean that let the harp be played again to revive art and literature again, and let him, the narrator, be the one to begin it. Here the line by line explanation of the poem is over. Now it's time to move towards the analysis part of the poem. So let's start. The poem The Harp of India is written as a Petrarchan sonnet, a poem consisting of 14 lines. A Petrarchan sonnet consists of an octave and a sestet. The poem is written in the first person point of view. The rhyming scheme of the poem is AB, AB, BA, BC, DC, DC, BB. The poem is pretty straightforward, simple, and elegant. The harp is the main symbol used in this poem. The harp represents India's poets, culture, tradition, art, and literature. The loss of these elements in India forms the outline of the poem. There are mainly two parts to the poem. The octave describes the abandoned harp, a metaphor the loss of art and literature, and sestet describes the poet's art and how the fame exists even after the death of artwork's author. There is a political background to this poem. It was written in the 19th century and very much reflects colonization and how it reflected in India's literary work. Now let us talk about the literary devices used in this poem. So the major literary devices used in the Harp of India are personification, simile, and synecdoche. Throughout the poem, the harp is personified. It is given the importance as if it is a living being. It perhaps enhances the value of art in India. Words like thou and her are used to personify the harp. The simile used in this poem is like ruined monument on desert plain. This simile compares the broken harp to an abandoned statue in the desert. One synecdoche used here is hands that refer to the poets. Now it's time to summarize the poetry. So let's start. The poem mourns India's loss of freedom to the British and hopes it would regain its past glory. The harp is simply a musical stringed instrument that Derozio uses to represent India's loss of art and literature. The harp is left unplayed, possibly because its strings are broken. Even when there is a breeze that touches the instrument, it has no motion. The ultimate use of an instrument is lost. There is no sound from it. The instrument has been used by several poets in the past, but now it lays there like a statue abandoned in a desert. The poets have become famous for using the harp in the past. The fame still exists through their artwork like fresh flowers that bloom in the poets' graves. Derozio ends the poem exclaiming that the one with the skill should awaken the music and choose him to do the job. Here we end our discussion and now comes questions time. These were some of the important questions asked in the examination. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. And yes, don't forget to support us by liking the video and share with others.